Welcome back. We're after 2 rounds of the Group B final. The leader, with his sights firmly fixed on a place in the Krypton Factor Grand Final, is the sales engineer from Linlithgow in Scotland, Steve Brown, with a Krypton Factor of 16. But he can be certain that his fellow contestants will be mounting a very heavy challenge in this next round. Observation. Round 3 is where you can compare your observational skills with those of our group finalists. So get ready to watch and listen carefully as Chief Inspector Fred Pilkington opens his famous casebook once more for journalist Julie Webb. Group finalists, turn quickly to your screens, please, and concentrate very hard on the case of the pirate and the projectionist.
Watching a video just isn't the same as a night at the pictures, Julie.
That's not what Bill Hargreaves thought in '85.
Unfortunately, no. A bent businessman named Markham was pirating videos, and Hargreaves was happy to supply him with the films.
So how did you get onto them, Fred?
Through June Benson, one of the 4 usherettes. One summer evening, they were showing Witness that week. She saw Hargreaves leave with 5 film cams. Usually, once a print arrived, it never left the premises. So she mentioned it to Davis, the manager, who contacted us.
But wasn't it the distributor you were really after?
Oh, that's right. So we watched Hargreaves for the next 5 weeks, and then the Steve Martin film was shown. Anyway, it was 10:30 Saturday night. Hargreaves came out carrying 4 cans, and of course we were waiting. Couldn't offer any plausible excuse and tried to pin all the blame on Markham.
Worth a try.
Copying films isn't an offence, but distributing them for commercial gain is. So we took out a search warrant for Markham's premises and found 3,000 copies of the most recent and popular films. There were 78 titles altogether.
So, sex lies and videotape.
Oh, overrated. Grossly overrated.
And as usual, a big thank you to Roy Barraclough and Annabelle Giles. Right, contestants, reach for your keypads, please. Coming out 5 questions on what you saw and heard with multi-choice answers. And here is question 1. What was Hargreaves' first name? Your choices. Time's up. The answer is B, Bill. Question 2. How many cans of film did we see Hargreaves put into the bicycle pannier? And the answer is B, 2. What was the name of the usherette who raised the alarm? And the answer is B, June Benson. What colour overall was the usherette wearing? The answer is A, red. Finally, question 5. The arresting officer had a number on his epaulette. What was it? And the answer is D, 1623. And that completes the questions, and right away the contestants' choices and speed on the keypad are translated into a result for the round. Here it is. Steve, you got 1 right and are 4th, 2 points. Nick, you got 2 right, 3rd place, 4 points. Norman, 3 right for you, 2nd and 6 points. And congratulations, Mike, you also got 3 right, but in a faster time, so you win the round, 10 points, and immediately we add all those points to the current totals. And at the halfway stage, just look at that, only 4 points between 1st and 4th, but we have joint leaders with Krypton Factors of 18. From Linlithgow in Scotland, Steve Brown, and the civil engineer from Nottingham, Nick Clark.
Competitors, on your marks!
The Army Physical Training Corps' Major Peter Lyon starts what could be a cracker of a race, because 3 of these group finalists won over the assault course in their respective heats, and the other finished second, just 3 seconds behind the winner. So as far as the form book is concerned, any one of these 4 could win this race. And it's Scotland's Steve Brown setting the early pace, approaching the tricky switchback, and he adopts the face-up technique, while the others all dive in face down. And peering through there, it's the face-down technique that comes off best, because Mike McEwen in red and Norman Kenvin in green emerge ahead of Steve Brown. And Steve is going to have to work really hard to get back. Steve coming up to the 6-foot wall now, and he falls, which allows Nick Clark to pass him, so disaster for Steve from first to fourth in just 2 obstacles. And it's Norman Kenvin who's opened up a clear lead, the man from Bickley in Kent, looking very strong. And he is pursued by Mike McEwen, and quickly comparing their times over the course in their respective heats. Mike was 8 seconds faster than Norman, but that's nothing on this course where mistakes can be so costly as we saw with Steve. And that's a mistake there by Mike, his foot plunging through the cargo net, and that allows Norman to pull away just a few yards more. And on the far side, Steve Brown has regained 3rd place ahead of Nick Clark, but he has an awful lot to do to catch this man, letting gravity take care of that S-bend. He just dropped down it. He's trained so hard for this race, following a special schedule at his local gym. And Norman Kenvin out in the lead, and Mike McEwen now drops through that S-bend obstacle, and he's going to have to pull out something special now to catch Norman. Up the scramble net for Norman, selecting 1 strand of rope with feet either side, the recommended technique. And there's a fair old battle going on there for 3rd place, and it's Nick Clark who's now edged ahead of Steve Brown once more. And there's the difference between 1st and 2nd. Norman on his way down, Mike still on the way up. Nick Clark beginning to pull away from a very tired-looking Steve Brown, and Nick looking comfortable as he begins the climb. Mike McEwen has another mistake there. He misses his footing, and that's really been the big difference between him and Norman. Norman hasn't made a single mistake, whereas Mike has been knocked out of his rhythm several times. Up towards the Burma rope bridge now for Norman, and coincidentally both he and Mike are very keen hockey players. Norman a centre forward, Mike an inside forward. Nick Clark in 3rd place, still well clear of Steve Brown, but quite a way behind Mike McEwen. Norman now preparing for the ride down the aerial slide, and behind him Mike making a big effort to catch up, and he has certainly made up quite a few yards, but it may well be too late as Norman sets off down the wire. Gathering speed all the time, thinking about how he's going to hit that water, making sure he doesn't throw it away now. And that is a good splashdown. He stays nicely on his feet and has just 1 obstacle to go. And here comes Mike, probably now regretting those earlier mistakes as he watches Norman charging on towards the final obstacle, the maze. Mike hits the water, another good landing, and he drags those hands out of the safety loops and still looks strong. Nick Clark finishing powerfully too, and he's not that far behind. But it is victory for Norman Kenvin. Last going into the round, this is what he wanted, 10 points and a tremendous effort. Nick with just that last obstacle to complete, and as he enters it, Mike emerges, crosses the line to get 6 points for 2nd place, but perhaps wonders what might have been. Steve Brown back in 4th, 2 bad early mistakes cost him any chance he might have had, and Nick now heads for the line, 4 points, a good steady run and a strong finish. And now to the scoreboard, where that assault course victory has made quite a difference. He was in 4th place, now he's the leader with a Krypton Factor of 24. From Bickley in Kent, Norman Kenvin. Well, what a group final. Only 4 points between first and last, and just 2 runs to go before we know who makes it into the grand final. And tonight's 3-dimensional task will really test their ability to work logically and quickly while under intense pressure. Contestants, take your places, please. In front of each of them are parts of a solid octahedron, together with a number of irregularly shaped pieces. Their task is to assemble the pieces in the frame provided so that the solid octahedron is embedded within a translucent regular tetrahedron. Are you ready, contestants? The test starts now.
Well, this is a particularly tough test, but then you might expect that for a group final. But by way of further explanation, a tetrahedron has 4 faces and an octahedron 8 faces. So the group finalists are attempting to build a construction where the 8-sided octahedron made from the solid sections will be contained within the 4-sided pyramid-shaped tetrahedron made from the translucent sections. And Steve Brown trying to get to grips with the test, and that piece is the top section, as he suspects. Now it's important that the group finalists realise that the octahedron is not completely embedded inside the pyramid-shaped tetrahedron, but will actually form part of its sides. Mike here was the only one of tonight's group finalists not to win the intelligence test in the heats. And Steve, obviously wishing he was back in his seat. He thinks it's not possible, but it is. And Norman is beginning to realise that it is. All that is correct so far, and when he identifies the 3rd corner piece, the rest should fall into place fairly quickly. And Nick Clark has done exactly that and is only a few moves away from finishing. So is Norman. It's going to be very close indeed between the two of them. But it is Nick who does it, and I wonder if being a civil engineer helped. Brilliantly done by Nick Clark, 10 points. And just seconds behind, Norman Kenvin, who was the overall leader, finishes and gets 6 points. Mike McEwen has never really mastered this one, and he's going to be fourth, because Steve, after that early exasperation and doubt, has solved the problem. Just the last piece to slot in at the top. And that is very well done. He didn't give up, and his reward, 4 points.
Well, with a score so tight, points are always going to be vital there, and it's congratulations to Nick, who got all 10. And we go to the scoreboard to see how that changes the situation. And in fact, a new leader with a Krypton Factor of 32, the civil engineer from Nottingham, Nick Clark. Well, what a finish it's going to be as we go into the 6th and final round, and for the winner, a place in the Krypton Factor 1993 Grand Final. 75 seconds of rapid-fire general knowledge questions to be answered on the buzzer. 2 points for a correct answer, but 2 points deducted for a wrong answer. Good luck, group finalists. The clock starts now. Which city is capital of the Sudan? Norman.
Khartoum.
Correct. Which cartoon character was the title of the first Inspector Clouseau film starring Mike?
Pink Panther.
Correct. Which national newspaper printed on pink paper covers Mike?
Financial Times.
Correct. In finance, where is the Hang Seng, the official index? Nick.
Hong Kong.
Correct. The Congo River is also known by what other... Mike.
Zaire.
Correct. In 1992, who became stepfather of Zara and Peter Phillips by marrying Princess Anne? Norman.
Tim Lawrence.
Correct. Which wife of Laurence Olivier won an Oscar for Gone with the Wind? Mike.
Vivian Leigh.
Correct. In legal terms, which offence means lying on oath? Norman.
Perjury.
Correct. In 1992, a Peugeot won which 24-hour sports car? Mike.
Le Mans.
Correct. Lemons and limes contain which sour-tasting acid used? Mike.
Ascorbic acid.
No, citric acid. The sitar is a stringed instrument from which country? Steve.
India.
Correct. Which Indian leader was the father of Mrs. Indira Gandhi? Mike.
Nehru.
Correct. Paulo Neruda, William Golding and Winston Churchill each won which Nobel Prize? Steve.
Literature.
Correct. A litter of which animal is also called a... No need to answer that. It is the end of the round and the end of the contest, and the winner tonight with a Krypton Factor of 36, the corporate leasing manager from Bickley in Kent, Norman Kenvin. Well, such a tight finish, and our warmest congratulations go to Norman as he now takes his place in the 1993 Krypton Factor Grand Final. We look forward to seeing him again there. Next week, we start the search for our third grand finalist with the opening heat in Group C. So do join us on Monday at 7 o'clock. In the meantime, from all the group finalists and from me, good night.
There's no swearing, but there's going to be a lot of beeping. New episodes of Supermarket Sweeping a Double Bill tonight from 10 p.m. on Challenge.